Before this video begins today, I just want to give a quick shout out to Matt and his wife Izumi, who I had the pleasure of meeting Matt today outside Celtic Park just after I finished filming. One of the most pleasant experiences I've had with a fan and talking away. It was an absolute pleasure. It was great to hear your stories, and I promised I would give a wee shout out in return. So yeah, I hope you enjoy the video, the pair of yous, if you are watching it, and I hope everybody else does as well. So let's not waste too much more time. Let's get into today's video, which is from Celtic Park.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. Once again, we're outside today. A nice change, a nice weather as well. The rain's not on to ruin the camera this time, and we're almost there. Days away now from the start of the league campaign. We kick off here on Sunday against Aberdeen, but we've got a few things to talk about in preparation for that game. How has Celtic's preparation went ultimately? What are the expectations for this season? I'm excited, you're probably excited, but let's talk all about it in today's season preview video. Now before we go any further with the video, as always, please make sure to hit like and subscribe. It would be much appreciated. If you like the videos out here, let me know. And a quick reminder that you can win one of these, or the away shirt if you want that. If you enter the giveaway, the link will be in the top line of the description, and you can have a chance of winning a shirt. Thank you for 35,000 subscribers, that's what it's for. And also, if you've not seen them already, some of the preview content already out the channel. The season predictions video was out yesterday. Before that, we had the away kit rankings. So if you want to prepare yourself nicely for the beginning of the Cinch Premiership this weekend, then there's some videos to set you up for it. But today we're going to be talking exclusively Celtic. I'm going to be previewing our season, talking about our run up to where we are just now. Of course, it's a little bit early. I feel like I could have probably done this video tomorrow, Friday, Saturday, and gave myself the most information that we'll need heading into that game on Sunday. But we've got a podcast coming out this weekend. We've got more content hopefully to come with some news that may arrive over the next couple of days. So I decided why not get down today and take advantage of the good weather and stand outside the lovely Celtic Park. So in case you haven't seen it, I'll move to the side. There you go. I'll moonwalk back in for you. Here it is, Celtic Park right now. The banners have been put up around the stadium. They're currently halfway through the other side. I don't know if you've seen it. Because all I seen until today was this side. But they are on the other side putting up the banners to complete the full thing. Apparently round the other side it'll be Callum McGregor rather than, have Billy McNeil over here. Apparently it'll be Callum McGregor lifting the Premiership trophy round the other side. So that's what to expect round there. But we've got Billy McNeil round here. I of course sit up there in 4-1-2. So we've got Billy McNeil round our end. But it's looking nice. At first I was kind of unsure. I was a wee bit like, yeah, I preferred the old banners. Because I liked that the old banners gave a nod to so many different players, because only so many can have statues, only so many can have stands named after them, but the banners kind of gave a nod to all the legendary icons we've had here at Celtic. So I was kind of like, nah, I prefer the old ones. But as I stand here now and look at this, I'm digging it a wee bit more. It's clean, it looks nice. Whoever's done the jobs and the graphics there, give me a shout, because you can do my thumbnails for me. So it's looking good. It should be all finished by Sunday round the other side for the season starting, and it gives a kind of new lease of life around the area. Now, I've been seeing a lot of people recently, and I know Hamish done a video on his channel discussing it, and I've seen a few threads on Twitter which have been discussing potential improvements to Celtic Park, and it's something I might do a video on one day as well. I still think there's work to be done. Where I'm standing right now, for example, isn't the prettiest. The stone car parks, I think they could look a lot nicer. And I know Parkhead isn't the greatest area in the world, coming from an East End boy, but I don't know, there's still improvement that can be done around here to make the stadium a lot more inviting. But that's a start, that looks nice, and yeah. Anyway, I thought I'd let you see that. That was one of the reasons I came down here today. So a quick news update before we talk about the season preview that I'm down here for. This could be a long video today, but I may as well make it long. Get the day out, I may as well make the most of my time down here at Celtic Park. It's not like I get down very often. Hopefully we'll have some guests on over the next few weeks, and we can maybe come down here as we approach the big games. Anyway, some news updates. There's not much happening, in fact. It's just kind of now waiting for Sunday to roll round for the start of the season, that anxious wait for the beginning. But apart from that, not much news. The big news story is about Yosuke Deguchi, who is injured. He will miss the beginning of the campaign. I don't think there's been a clear time given on the timescale for the injury. I don't know how long he's exactly going to be out for, but he is injured. He's picked up a knock, which is gutting, because I thought he looked okay in pre-season. I thought he actually looked quite good. And, he's one of those guys that are in the central defensive midfield role right now where we don't have a lot of depth. So now suddenly James McCarthy moves up the pecking order, which for some is a scary, daunting thought, including myself. So Yosuke Deguchi, it's a shame because we've not got the chance to see him yet. He's not had that opportunity to break into the team like his fellow countrymen that signed in January. Ryo Hatate and Dyson Maeda, what a start to life at Celtic they've had. Yosuke Deguchi hasn't had that opportunity at all, and it looks as though it's going to remain that way. He's not going to get the opportunity until he's back from injury, and it just makes you wonder how will he break into this team, because Celtic are definitely probably still looking at bringing in another central defensive midfielder. So if someone else comes in and gets ahead of him in the pecking order, it begs the question, when will he get the chance to kind of flourish? Is there going to be many an opportunity? Hopefully it's not a long injury, hopefully he's back soon, hopefully we can see something out of him, but he is injured just now. And apart from that, there's nothing much else. There's no big transfer news at the moment. There's not even a lot of rumours, but Ange of course did say that he's looking to make more signings, and there will be outgoings at the club as well, but we've heard nothing else as of yet. Hopefully after this weekend or whatever we'll hear more on that, but for now that's pretty much it in terms of news. So we may as well preview the start of this league campaign. I've decided to record this video in like two sort of parts, so if the lighting has changed or I'm a bit further away or closer to the camera than I was in the first part, I hope your OCD isn't gone crazy. My apologies. If I could keep it consistent, I would have tried. Anyway, I've decided to go through this in a sort of list type fashion. We're going to cover everything that we need to talk about before heading into this new campaign, and by doing so there's a few different areas that I actually want to talk about. And we're going to start with pre-season, because obviously that's finished now. We played our last game of pre-season last Saturday against Norwich with a 2-0 win here at Celtic Park. And the pre-season in general, I think, has given us some positive signs heading into this campaign. And look, I think for Celtic ultimately it's about carrying on what we did right last season. In terms of how we play in the park, there's not much we can do better. We were immaculately good at times last season. I think there's obviously certain things we could have done better, and Ange has acknowledged that, and I think the fans can acknowledge that as well. But ultimately, on the grand scheme of things, we were pretty darn good, to say the least. So in pre-season, we showed signs of that. Now, a lot of people have got concerns of pre-season because of second half performances and because we squandered leads and things like that, you know, and that's okay, that's expected. Obviously people are going to get worried when you concede goals and you don't play as well as what you did in another period of the game. But ultimately, we're going into this campaign now, we're not going to be making 11 changes in these games. Against Aberdeen on Sunday, I think the 5-sub rule still stands. We could make 5 substitutions, but we're not going to be making 11. We're not going to be bringing on the B team. The subs that come on will be subs to actually impact the game in a positive way. The kind of need for players to get minutes in the legs is now going to go out the window because it's serious business. But overall in pre-season, I don't think there's much to be concerned about, because when we played our strongest teams and when we played our best, we were seeing a lot of the same positives, if not better, from what we did last season. A lot of good results. We remained unbeaten. And against Norwich on Saturday, it might have not been a spectacular game to watch, but once again, like every sort of Saturday 3 o'clock game you get here at Celtic Park, they got the job done without any concern. You know, Norwich didn't worry us. And Norwich are a better side, and they played a better side than what the majority of Scottish Premiership sides will bring here this season. And we didn't have to worry. We didn't have to stress. We handled things really well, and we managed to go out and play our football and get the job done without having to go over the top or be too spectacular. Now, I'm hoping we get the return of 6-0s and such this season at Celtic Park. Absolutely. I'd love those sort of games to come back that we've seen at the opening stages of last season. But pre-season, I think, has been ultimately very positive. A lot of players have managed to get good run-outs, good minutes in the legs. We're warmed up, we're ready to go. And we've obviously been abroad a couple of times as well. We're in Austria, we're in the Czech Republic, we were in Poland. So we've been about. We've got that kind of taste of what Europe will be like as well, the players travelling. Ultimately, I think that all those, it was a real sign of how boring it is waiting for the season to start, because people will take things to moan at so literally and so easily, whereas if it was a normal league game, probably wouldn't do it as easily. Transfer business is the second thing I think that we need to talk about, and Celtic's transfer window has been pretty good. Look, we went into the window knowing what we had to do. We had to bring in a left back. We had to do that, and we done that. We brought in Bernabe. We had to sign Jota and Cameron Carter-Vickers on permanent deals. We done that. We got them in on permanent deals. A lot of Rangers fans have been saying on social media that Celtic haven't had a successful window as Rangers because we've just basically kept the same squad. But what's the issue with that? This is a squad that blew away the league last year. I know we didn't win the league by a substantial margin, but the football we were playing once we got clicking was unbelievable. You've got to remember, our squad wasn't looking anything like that in the opening 5 or 6 rounds of the Scottish Premiership season. And then you've got to take into account the fact the adaptability, the bedding in process. It took us a few months to actually get to know what Celtic was. You look at games like, remember when we dropped points against St Mirren last season? You look at the squad from that day, you know, it was completely different. January was strengthened big time as well. In this window, it was about strengthening our depth and making those players permanent that we really wanted to make permanent. And we've done that. And we've brought in depth. And there's still more to come. It's been, once again, I've used this word already, a pretty immaculate transfer window for Celtic, because we've done what we've got to do. We've got a backup keeper as well now. We've managed to bring in a centre half to improve our depth there in Moritz Jens. We've brought in an experienced player like Aaron Moy, who's played in the Premier League. And then, of course, all the other signings we've made. There isn't really much to moan about in terms of our transfer window. I think we've prepared really well for this season, and we've always got that good news to fall back on that Ange gave us last week, that we're looking to make more signings. And then on the other side of things, the flip side of things, you've got to talk about the outgoings. We've cut dead wood. We've got rid of players that didn't have to be here. And, you know, there's still, once again, more of that to come. So on screen, there's your ins, there's your outs. I mean, that's a pretty good transfer window to this point. You've got to remember, there is still, 3-4 weeks left of the transfer window. We're still going to sign players, and it could be even better. I think there's areas that we still need to improve on. I don't think it's too much of a concern at this moment in time, but I'd like to see a central defensive midfielder. I'd maybe like to see another forward come in, and maybe another defender of some sort. But we've got time to work on that, and to this point, I couldn't ask for much else. You know, let's be real, right? If you told us at the end of last season, you told each and every Celtic supporter that we would sign Jota and we would sign Cameron Carter-Vickers on permanent deals, that would have been enough to make you happy. It would have been. Let's be real. I mean, maybe you'd have been like, okay, well, we need a bit more, but you would have been buzzing at the prospect of just getting those two in. And we've done that. We've spent big, we've done our business, and we're preparing as best as we can for this season that will start here on Sunday. Let's talk about Europe. Yes, Europe. I know a lot of you might not want to think too far ahead to European football, but one advantage that Celtic have had this summer window and this pre-season is that we've not had to put ourselves through the substantial amount of qualifiers for the Champions League. And on one hand, that could have been a positive because we could have had competitive games to take us out this season, but we complain about it every year. It's good not to have it. Let's not pretend it isn't. So those qualifiers are out the way. We're straight and direct into the Champions League group stage. Now, are Celtic ready? Are Celtic prepared for a Champions League group stage? That seems to be one of the biggest concerns with Celtic's pre-season and their transfer business. Are we allowing ourselves are we bringing in the amount of quality to allow ourselves to compete in the Champions League? Now, ultimately, the Champions League is so difficult. There isn't a group that you can get that's easy. There isn't a path that you can take in that group stage to ensure you're playing after Christmas. You've got to basically hope for the best and then play your best on the day. Now, with Ange Postecoglou, what I seen in the Europa League last season was very, very promising as to the direction we may go in European football. And I'm not suddenly saying we're going to win our Champions League group or we're going to progress with ease to the last 16 or anything like that. But we are now in a position where I think we can challenge teams. Last year we got that scalping off Leverkusen, of course the embarrassment to Bodo Glimt as well. And aside from those particular situations, which are very hard to just look by, I thought we took European football with a real sort of challenge last year that we haven't seen in previous years. We went forward, we played attacking football, and that can be a concern because obviously we allow ourselves to be opened up to these big sides. If you draw PSG, Real Madrid, Liverpool, and they could absolutely tank you both here at Celtic Park and away. But I feel like we're going in with such a positivity this year and we should just be excited about it. The fact we're back in the Champions League alone is good enough for me. £40 million in the bank, and I do want us to challenge, but that's going to be a gradual progression. And I think that's the next big step on Ange Postecoglou's progression list, is to be better in Europe. Because last year it was disappointing when we fell flat at the end against Bodo Glimt. So we do need to progress, but by progressing you're going to have to take those hardships. You're going to have to struggle at first. I'm expecting us to struggle in that Champions League group stage. But I'm very excited, and I think we have got a team that's good enough to go and challenge. Yes, maybe we need a bit more depth, but in terms of starting 11s, how much better can we get right now with the availability of players in the market? People are sceptical, and rightly sceptical, but I'm excited for European football to return to Celtic Park this season and in the form of Champions League football this season. We'll have to just wait and see what the groups bring us, but the big thing is, how will that affect Celtic's season? Will it hinder our domestic form? I don't think so. I think we handled it very well last year, even when we were down and out. You know, even when Bodo Glimt knocked us out of Europe, it could have been very easy for Celtic to have got into a slump, and we could have seen that rub off on our sort of domestic form. But we carried on very strongly, and we went and won a league title. So I'm not thinking that any of the games in the Champions League will hinder our form here or away from home in the Premiership. And I'm just particularly excited. And you know what? One thing is, well, Tuesday, Wednesday instead of Thursday. Farewell to as many Sunday games as possible. I hate the Sunday home games with a passion. We've got to talk about our rivals, and as much as I don't want to make this channel where we talk about Rangers, you know, you've got to acknowledge the fact that we do have strong opposition across the city heading into this league campaign. We're now in a position where competition is back, and there is a genuine conversation out with our own support as to who will win this league title. And obviously us as Celtic fans, including myself, are very confident that Celtic can go and retain this league title this year and win 2 in a row. But Rangers are a team who are much stronger than what they have been in prior years. Of course, they won the league a couple of years ago. Last year, they won the Scottish Cup. They got to a Europa League final. And they're sort of going through a transition themselves just now. It's Giovanni Van Bronckhorst's first full season as Rangers manager. But they've got, let's be real here, they've got a job to do. They've got to improve against Celtic. Now, they might have got one up against us in that Scottish Cup semi-final. But in the league, Celtic and Ange Postecoglou have had the upper hand over GVB. That battering at Celtic Park back in February, that win at Ibrox, which effectively sealed the league title. Rangers have got a point to prove against us, but right now I feel like we've got the confidence over them. I know they've just had a Europa League final and won a Scottish Cup, but the party mood is certainly over at Celtic Park. So I'm hoping we can carry that on against Rangers this season. But don't get me wrong, it will be very tough. Rangers have made a lot of signings, a lot of good-looking signings as well, I would say. And, you know, they have that hint of the unexpected that Celtic did last season. So there's no point going into this season underestimating what Rangers can do. I think that it's going to be very important to kind of judge that off the opening exchanges of the season. How will they get on in the opening day against Livingston? How will they get on in their first game at Ibrox, building up into that derby? I think when we go into that first derby game on September the 3rd, I think it's the 3rd, when we go into that game, we'll have a much better idea of how to judge our opponents. But this year it will be tough. I can see it going down to the wire once more, to the last few games of the season till we know who wins this title. But right now, I'm feeling like Celtic have the edge over Rangers in terms of quality. We know what we're getting with Ange. And the confidence in the city is more on Celtic's side, I would say. Key players this season. Who do I think will be the one for Celtic? Who will be the player? Now, this is so difficult because there is so many in this team who could be the one for Celtic. We have so much quality. It's the squad. The squad's looking so good. It's the best it's been in a long, long time, I think, here at Celtic, especially in our starting 11. And there's a few players who automatically jump off the sheet to me. There's 3 in particular this season who I think could be the star man for Celtic. Number 1, Callum McGregor, the captain, the player of the season last year, because he's just Mr. Consistent. He's the GOAT. He's just so good. Georgios Giakoumakis, I think, could be huge this season. My favourite outfield player at Celtic. I adore him. I think he could get a barrel of goals if he stays fit. I think ultimately, you know, it's a very difficult decision to see who our first choice striker is. Between him and Kyogo flipping about, it'll be hard to stand out as a top goal scorer, I think. But I think Giakoumakis is the one. I think he's the main guy for us in terms of our striker options. But it's, you know, it's a very healthy conversation to have. I don't think there's like streets between them. I think it's just one for me right now who's the goal scorer. And it's I don't know. It's hard to word. I'm not saying Kyogo isn't a goal scorer. Of course he is. But I just think that Giakoumakis has got that edge right now, and just how confident he is and his first time finishing ability, all these different things. I think it could be a huge season for him and he could finish top scorer in this league. And the third player I'm thinking is Matt O'Reilly. I think he looks magic. I think he is that ready-made Rogic replacement, as we all know, who can step into this team with the fitness to play week in, week out and do so much. Those 3 for me, I think, could be the keys to us having such a successful season, both domestically and in Europe. And of course, shout-outs to Kyogo, shout-outs to Rio Hatate, shout-outs to Jota, all these guys, everybody. It's a shame to actually pick people over others. Just for me personally, those are the 3 guys that I will be watching the most this season in terms of making an impact to what we do in this campaign. So we head into the first game of the season on Sunday, and ultimately, are we prepared? Absolutely. I am looking forward to taking on this campaign with both hands. I'm looking forward to taking on the challenge, but will be a very testing 38-game stretch. Obviously, you throw in the cup competitions, and obviously you've got to throw in the European football as well. This is going to be a long testing campaign, and by the end of it, I think our Celtic side will be completely different players. I think mentally, this will be the most challenging that most of these players have faced in their career so far, and it's going to transform us into a better team ultimately. So I'm very excited. I think we're ready for Sunday. Bring on Aberdeen. I'm looking forward to it. If we can start the season with an emphatic win, goals galore, it would be very telling as to where this season could go this season. I said season twice there, it felt weird. But in the overall expectations category, what is the expectations? Well, I think as fans, we all know what we want to see. We want to see that league title retained once more. We want to see us win the league again, and ultimately I think we can. I think we will win the league again this season. It'll be tough, but I think we'll do it. Can we build on the double that we done last year? It would be nice to bring home more cup success. A treble would be lovely if we could do that, but I think we're now at a point where things are so competitive to put the kind of demand or the expectation of winning a treble on the team every year is always a bit much, but obviously I want that. And in European football, the expectation, we need to get better, we need to show improvement, and hopefully we will in a very tough condition with the Champions League quality, but I think we can. And for the overall expectation, it's just to have fun again. We never stop, so let's not stop this season. Right, that's going to do it for today. We're recording the podcast tonight. If this video is out, then I'll probably be out filming the podcast while you're watching this. So a lot of the things I touched on here we'll have actual discussion about with other people's opinions. We'll be getting you guys' opinions involved as well, the fans. We'll be having our quiz and all the rest of it. So make sure you watch the podcast when it's released on Friday. And yeah, there'll be even more season preview talk. We'll be actually previewing the Aberdeen game in depth. And yeah, apart from that, that's pretty much me for today. I'm actually out a lot longer than I anticipated to be, so I'm going to move and get up the road to edit this. I hope you've enjoyed the change of scenery for today's video. And like and subscribe, it would be much appreciated. Anyway, I'm going to press stop now, so I'll see you all next time.